Welcome to Forest Light. How are you guys doing? I want to make sure that I am in the camera fully for my other platforms because I am streaming to all my different pages. So I just want to make sure that you guys can see me. Welcome in and welcome in. How are you guys doing today? How are you guys doing today? How are you guys doing today? Today. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Give me one moment to start. Let me set my I got a notification that one of my platforms are not screaming, so I'm trying to get it. Give me one moment, y'all. One moment. One moment, y'all. Are we here yet? I'm here. I got it fixed, y'all. In the meantime, I am never not organized, so something had to have gone wrong. All right, y'all. At least that give me time for people to come in, right? Yeah. All right, y'all. Good morning. Good morning. It took me 2 minutes to get ready. That's not me. But good morning and welcome here. Today is Wednesday, and today happens to be um, the day that this is what we call Holy Wednesday. So we're preparing for Holy Wednesday tomorrow, Holy Thursday, and Friday was back in the day the representation of the crucifixion, not necessarily the exact day that it happened, but the day that we use to commemorate that, right? And there's something that I wanted to talk about today that many of us experience but rarely admit it out loud: the pain of loving someone who would betray you. The pain of loving someone who would betray you. And most people think betrayal only happens in romantic relationships. But if you study the scriptures carefully, you begin to see that betrayal often comes from people who were closest to you. The Bible tells us in the book of the Gospel of John, I think it's John, um, that Jesus sat at the table with 12 men. These were not strangers, these were not casual acquaintances. These were the people who walked with him, traveled with him, ate with him, and listened to him teach day after day. And yet one of them would betray him. That man, as we all know it, is Judas. The story is recorded across the Gospels, including the Gospel of Matthew, where Judas agrees to hand Jesus over for 30 pieces of silver. 30. Not a fortune, not a kingdom, just 30 pieces of silver. Good morning to those of you joining. Welcome here. My name is Athena. What this reveals about human nature is uncomfortable, but it is true. Sometimes people do not betray you. Sometimes, hi, Tropika nephew. I don't read. What do you mean? Can I have a reading? I don't read for people. If that's what you're looking for, sorry. What this reveals about human nature is uncomfortable, but it is true. Sometimes people do not betray you because you have harmed them. Sometimes, thank you. Sometimes people do not betray you because you have harmed them. Sometimes people betray you because your presence exposes something inside of them. Think of it. Sometimes people betray you because your presence exposes something inside of them. Judas sat next to Jesus for years. Judas sat next to Jesus for years. He, hold on for a minute, guys. I have to put on my glasses because somebody said, did you call me Tropic of Nephew? Well, at first I didn't see it was Neptune, but Tropic of Neptune. um, Yet somewhere in his heart something was misaligned. And when misalignment lives in the heart long enough, it eventually reveals itself through actions. Here is the lesson many people miss. Jesus knew. The entire time, Jesus knew that he would be betrayed. Scripture tells us that he knew from the beginning who would betray him. Yet he still allowed Judas to sit at the table. He still washed his feet. He still treated him with dignity. There is a deep wisdom in that. Thank you. Yes, I've had people get angry at me for just being an open, friendly person. Oh, no, there's no need to be angry at you. Anger is something deeper. When people get angry, it's not you. You cannot control the intentions of other people, but you can control the condition of your own spirit. Many of us spend years trying to understand why someone hurt us, why someone lied, why someone spoke against us. But the deeper question is this: can you remain who you are even when someone else reveals who they are? Can you remain who you are even when someone else reveals who they are? This is one of the hardest disciplines in life. I am still going through that, y'all. Remaining who I am. Because betrayal triggers something inside of us. It touches pride, it touches anger, it touches the part of us that wants to defend ourselves and expose the other person. But if you look closely at the story of Jesus, you will notice something remarkable. He did not chase Judas. He did not argue with Judas. He did not try to convince Judas to change his mind. He simply continued walking in his purpose. That is the discipline many people must learn, including myself. Not every betrayal requires a response. Not every betrayal requires a response. Some betrayals requires distance. Some betrayals requires silence. I'm going to say that again. Some betrayals requires distance and some betrayals requires silence. And some require the strength that continue forward without carrying bitterness in your heart. Because bitterness is heavy. It will slow your growth. One moment. Athena, I haven't been watching you long, but you've convinced me you're a real one with Heinz Tentalin, and I have liked and subscribed. Thank you, Tropic Nephew, for being here. Honest intention. Okay. I was like, what does that mean? And yes, I am wearing a Meta glasses. It will cloud your judgment because bitterness is heavy. It will slow your growth and it will cloud your judgment. And eventually it will begin to change who you are. When you're bitter, eventually it changes who you are. The challenge of maturity is learning to guard your spirit. You may remember yesterday I spoke about losing composure during a moment of provocation. Many of us have experienced that moment when someone says or does something to trigger us. But spiritual growth is not measured by whatever, spiritual growth is not measured by whether people provoke you. Spiritual growth is measured by how quickly you return to yourself. And let's dive a little bit deeper. The book of Proverbs gives a powerful insight. It tells us that the person who rules their spirit is stronger than someone who captures a city. The person who rules their spirit is stronger than the person who captures a city. In ancient times, good morning, Nicola. In ancient times, conquering a city required armies, strategy, and force. Yet scripture says mastering your own spirit is even greater than that. Why? Because controlling a city requires strength, but controlling your emotions requires wisdom. And wisdom grows through reflection. So this morning, I want to leave you with a question. This morning, I want to leave you with a question. Who is sitting at your table? And more importantly, what is happening within your heart? When that person sits at your table, who who is sitting at your table? Remember, Jesus knew that Judas would have betrayed him from the beginning. He knew that the moment Judas sat at his table. Do you know who is sitting at your table? And do you know what's happening in your heart? That is the morning inspiration for this morning. I hope you guys have a wonderful Wednesday. Thank you for joining me. I am normally here every day, Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. You can join me on both of my Facebook platforms, YouTube and TikTok. So, and I'm streaming live on all of those platforms currently. So you can join me on any one of those every morning, Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Thank you for joining me. See you tomorrow. Bye.